I don't know if you've ever taken the time to actually read carefully through the book of Genesis, but this book never fails to yield important points for living. Listen to this one. It comes from the story of Noah, chapter 7, beginning in verse 10. The Bible says, "And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened." Now, try to imagine what it would be like for Noah and his family to sit inside that ark for 7 days before the flood came. For years, Noah had warned his neighbors that the flood was coming. And while he preached, he worked on the massive boat that God told him to build. Now, judging by the little group that actually made it into the ark, the preaching didn't go all that well. In fact, in the book of Hebrews, we discover that Noah was predicting things the ancient world had never seen. It would be kind of like somebody today predicting that America is going to be defeated by an army of penguins. And that's an event that's hard to imagine because nobody's ever seen that happen before. And now that Noah is inside the ark, nothing is happening. There are no storms, no downpours, not even a drizzle. With each passing day, it looks less and less like something might actually happen, and more like you might be as crazy as people said you are. Never mind that the ark was full of animals that mysteriously arrived at the ark without being herded. And never mind that God Himself had closed the door of the ark. One look at the story of the Exodus proves that human beings have very short memories and we easily forget the miracles of the past. Because in Exodus, Israel complains that God has abandoned them right after they cross the Red Sea. So you've got to wonder what goes through Noah's mind as he sits inside the ark for 7 long days, listening to the laughter of his critics. Were there moments that Noah doubted himself? Did he ever wonder if he'd made a colossal mistake? How often did he have to reassure his family that the flood really is coming? Of course, all we can do is speculate. But it does raise an important point. God's timing is usually different than ours, and one of the most important life skills we can learn is to live by God's agenda. In the era of the microwave, we seem to have lost the art of patience. A car doing anything less than the speed limit on the freeway drives us crazy. And a meal that takes longer than 6 minutes to put out on the table hardly seems worth the wait to us. But you know something, when it comes to God, we don't have a choice. God has a reason for His timing, and sometimes when we read the promises God makes to us in the Bible, we've got this tendency to forget this. When we see something good, we want it now. When we need divine intervention, we want it yesterday. And occasionally, I meet people who gave up on God because they didn't get what they thought they needed right away. You've got to wonder why the Bible records that 7-day pause before the floodwaters come. Maybe it's so that we can see when we don't hear from God, it's only a pause, a chance to build our characters and develop a deeper faith. It's a chance to learn a bit of heavenly patience, which when the floodwaters finally come, is always going to be a better way to live.